Chinese lung dragon. The lung dragon of Chinese mythology is a long serpentine creature, covered in iridescent scales, often depicted with four-clawed feet and a flowing mane. Unlike Western dragons, the lung is not inherently destructive. It controls water, rain, and floods, symbolizing life-giving forces. Its body is extremely flexible, able to coil around mountains or dive through clouds. Ancient texts describe the lung as possessing the ability to shapeshift, often appearing as a human or merging with mist and rain to observe human affairs. The dragon's head is adorned with antler-like horns, sharp eyes, and whiskers that twitch like lightning as it senses imbalance in nature. Lung dragons are said to inhabit rivers, lakes, and celestial palaces above the clouds. When angered or disturbed, storms and typhoons follow its movements. They are also custodians of precious elements, including pearls that represent wisdom, power, or spiritual energy. Chinese emperors were often depicted with dragons on robes and banners, symbolizing divine authority, and festivals like the Dragon Boat Festival celebrate their influence over agriculture and water. Their movements are described as fluid and almost musical, coordinating weather patterns with precision, marking them as cosmic regulators rather than mere beasts. European fire-breathing dragon. European dragons prevalent in Norse and medieval lore are large winged reptiles capable of flight and exhaling fire. These dragons often dwell in mountainous caves or deep forests, hoarding gold and treasures, making them both guardians and predators. They have heavily armored scales, which deflect arrows and swords, and sharp claws designed to tear through armor. Norse sagas depict dragons as intelligent, cunning, and sometimes capable of speech. The fire they breathe is described as superheated, capable of melting stone or destroying villages. European knights and heroes often undertake quests specifically to slay these dragons, turning these encounters into archetypes of courage and strategy. Dragons like Fafnir in Norse mythology were once human or semi-divine beings, transformed by greed or magic into draconic forms. They use their sense of smell and heat perception to track intruders across vast distances. Their wings, resembling those of bats, allow high-speed dives from cliffs or mountains. European dragon lore also features elements of poison and venom, making even a near miss with the creature lethal. Tales emphasize the dragon's solitary nature, often suggesting that greed, hoarding, or hubris is what binds them to the mortal realm. Japanese Yamata-no-Orochi. The Yamata-no-Orochi is an eight-headed and eight-tailed serpent from Japanese Shinto mythology, massive enough to span 8 valleys and mountains. Each head is independent, moving with fluid, serpentine grace, striking multiple targets at once, and regenerating rapidly if damaged. Legends describe it as consuming entire villages and demanding human sacrifices. Its body is adorned with red and black scales, and its eyes glow like embers, creating a terrifying presence at night. Orochi dwells in rivers and swamps, sometimes blending seamlessly with water and mist. The storm god Susanoo confronted it, using strategy rather than brute force, intoxicating the creature with sake before severing each head sequentially. Its tails are said to conceal the Kusanagi sword, later integrated into imperial regalia, signifying the fusion of dragon power with human leadership. Its massive size enables it to crush bridges, uproot trees, and create landslides as it moves. Each of its heads is associated with elemental phenomena. Lightning, wind, and water currents follow its movements. Despite its destructive nature, Orochi represents chaos and transformation, forcing communities and heroes to adapt or perish. Hydra of Greek mythology. The Lernaean Hydra is a multi-headed serpent from Greek mythology, dwelling in the swamp of Lerna. When one of its heads is severed, 2 more grow in its place, creating an ever-escalating threat. Its central head is sometimes described as immortal, resistant to mortal weapons. The Hydra's breath is poisonous, capable of wilting plants and killing animals at close range, and its blood is similarly venomous. Hercules famously confronted it as part of his 12 labors, using fire to cauterize each stump and prevent regrowth. Each head acts semi-autonomously, capable of independent movement, attacking in coordinated patterns. Its scales are thick, reflective, and covered in mucus that makes gripping weapons nearly impossible. The creature inhabits marshes and lakes, often hidden under fog or reeds, striking suddenly at prey or intruders. In some versions, its eyes emit a faint glow, hypnotizing weaker opponents before striking. The Hydra represents escalation, resilience, and the tactical challenge of confronting a threat that multiplies with every action. Its defeat requires ingenuity, illustrating the blend of raw danger and complex problem-solving inherent in Greek dragon lore. Slavic Zmei-Gorenik. Zmei-Gorenik, from Russian and Slavic mythology, is a three-headed dragon with the ability to breathe fire from all mouths simultaneously. Its body is covered in thick greenish scales that glint under sunlight, and its wings span great distances, enabling rapid aerial assaults. Each head can operate independently, making it a formidable opponent in combat. Zmei often terrorizes villages, carrying off livestock or people for ransom or sacrifice. In legends, it is sometimes immortal, requiring cunning or magical weapons to defeat. Its roar causes earthquakes or disrupts forests, shaking both ground and psyche. Heroes such as Dobrynya Nikitich are recorded as slaying or capturing it, often using deception, speed, or enchanted swords. Zmei-Gorenik's lair is usually atop high mountains, surrounded by fire and jagged rock formations, making approach nearly impossible. In some stories, its fire is accompanied by smoke and ash clouds, temporarily blinding attackers. The creature's movements are swift, darting between land and air, with surprising agility. Its three heads are sometimes symbolic, past, present, and future, reflecting Slavic cosmology embedded within its monstrous form. Aztec Quetzalcoatl Dragon. Quetzalcoatl, while more serpent than traditional dragon, embodies draconic traits in Aztec and Mesoamerican mythology. Its body is feathered like a bird, allowing swift gliding and covered in shimmering green and gold scales. It is associated with wind, learning, and creation, sometimes depicted with fangs and claws capable of defense. Unlike destructive dragons, Quetzalcoatl interacts with humans as a teacher or benefactor, though it can unleash storms or hurricanes if angered. Its movement is fluid, rising from mountains, rivers, or clouds, blending serpentine flexibility with avian elegance. It can coil around temples or statues, merging natural and spiritual worlds. Aztec art often portrays it spiraling around celestial symbols, linking it to planets and stars, showing cosmic influence. Quetzalcoatl's breath is metaphorically life-giving, representing wind or divine inspiration, but it can also carry subtle, destructive power, like hurricanes or lightning storms. Its eyes are described as bright and penetrating, capable of seeing both human intentions and natural imbalances. The dragon's presence marks sacred spaces, guiding ritual activity, and its flight patterns are considered omens of forthcoming events in Aztec cosmology. Indian Naga dragons. Nagas are serpent-like dragons from Hindu and Buddhist traditions, inhabiting rivers, lakes, and underground palaces called patala. They possess immense length and muscular strength, enabling them to constrict enemies or lift massive objects. Nagas are semi-divine, sometimes capable of shape-shifting into human form to interact with mortals. They are guardians of treasures, sacred knowledge, and fertility, capable of controlling rainfall and river currents. Many texts describe them as luminous, their scales reflecting moonlight or glowing with internal energy. Nagas often feature in temple carvings, coiled around deities or forming protective barriers. They can manipulate water currents, summon storms, and communicate telepathically with other mystical beings. Some possess venom potent enough to fell a warrior instantly, while others use hypnotic gazes to pacify intruders. Their society is hierarchical, with kings like Vasuki and Shesha commanding large Naga clans. Their interactions with humans range from benevolent guidance to fierce retribution if sacred laws are broken. Nagas illustrate the duality of nature, nurturing when respected, lethal when provoked, blending dragon-like power with divine authority. Korean Imugi and Yong dragons. Korean dragon myths feature the Imugi, a giant serpent aspiring to become a true dragon, and the yang, fully developed dragons. Imugi are long, snake-like, sometimes taking centuries to transform, symbolizing patience and persistence. Yang dragons possess the classic East Asian features: antler-like horns, flowing whiskers, and clawed feet, with control over rain, storms, and rivers. They are benevolent, rarely causing destruction unless provoked. Yang often descend from the heavens, moving with fluid elegance through clouds, their scales glittering like jewels in sunlight. Imugi attempt to ascend by acquiring sacred pearls or divine favor, facing tests of endurance and morality. Both dragons are deeply integrated into Korean art, folklore, and temple architecture, frequently appearing as protectors of villages, rivers, and palaces. Their movements are described in cinematic detail, twisting mid-air, summoning clouds, and channeling elemental forces like wind and water in perfect harmony. When Yang dragons roar, thunder follows. When Imugi finally ascends, it is said the sky itself opens to acknowledge their transformation. These dragons embody both aspiration and realized power, bridging human and divine realms with majestic physical presence. To explore the realms these dragons ruled, defended, or reshaped through storm and fire, step into Every Mythological Kingdom Explained, where the empires, celestial courts, and sacred lands behind these legends come to life. Because every dragon, no matter how powerful, exists within a kingdom that defines its purpose, its power, and its place in the cosmos.